Welcome. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a Microsoft Excel table in this video. Then in the next video, we will take that table, turn it into a graph, and format both the table and the graph appropriately. First things first, the very first thing you should do when you open a new Excel workbook is to save it. So we're going to click Save. Your computer might look a little bit differently. Save as. I will usually place my stuff on the desktop or in a particular folder. Give it a meaningful name. This is going to be Intro to Excel Practice, so that you know what it is and you can look it up. The file name that you type in is going to be up here at the top. So Excel likes to work in columns. You need to organize your data into columns. The top row I always use for titles. So in this instance, we're going to call this first column mass. So I'll type in mass, and we also want to include our units, mass and grams. To jump to B, column B, I press the tab key, and this one is going to be volume. Volume is measured in milliliters. Column C, we're going to call density. The units will be grams per milliliter. I press enter, it'll jump down to the next row. One thing you'll notice is volume and density overlap, they're too wide. So I can fix that very quickly and efficiently by selecting this upper left-hand cell or block. It'll automatically highlight my entire spreadsheet. Move between any two columns to make your cursor look like this. Any two columns, make your cursor look like this. In the middle, between them. Double click or two-finger click on your Mac. That automatically resized my columns to fit the contents of my cells. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug in some numbers. I'm just going to make up numbers. I'm going to say 13.5, 15.6, 17.9, 18.3, and 20.1. My volumes, we're going to increase our volume, let's say 3 milliliters every time. So we're going to start off. My volume will be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Increasing by 3 every time. Now, when you have data that's going to increase by the same amount every single time, or if you had a different column like trial, and you did like 10 trials, you want to do one trial 1, trial 2, of course we could type in 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way down. But if we are resourceful, by clicking this and dragging it down, highlighting both cells at the same time, bring your cursor to the bottom right hand corner so it looks like a solid cross, and drag it down. We get automatically populate those fields because it's the same pattern, increase by 1 every single time, and Excel knows that. The way this is useful over here in volume, since we increase by 3 every time, if I didn't type in 9, 12, and 15, if I delete those cells, I could highlight this. Excel knows that it increased by 3. By dragging it down, automatically populates those fields. So this is one way that Excel is useful. Next, we're going to get Excel to do a little bit of math. Whenever you want Excel to do math for you, you need to tell it to equal something. Alright, so press the equal sign immediately. Density is calculated by taking the mass divided by the volume, grams per milliliter. So if I want to do it for this second row, select the first number in column A, 13.5, divide it by the first number in column B, 3. press enter, and it automatically does that calculation. Instead of doing that over and over, selecting them, the same pattern is repeated. Select the cell, bring it to the bottom right, drag it down. Automatically calculates the density for each trial. Kind of useful. Next up, we want it to calculate an average. If we have these masses and volumes calculating density, I want to know what is the average density of this column. So what I'm going to do is I'll type in average and put a colon there. So the average is going to go right here. Equals the average of these numbers, close parentheses. So equals average, open parentheses, highlight the values, close the parentheses, press enter. Automatically calculates the average. Pretty nice. Next up, you notice that we have varying numbers of decimal points everywhere. We want that to be uniform. So I'm going to select all my digits, press Control or Command, and click that one as well so that it's selected. Move my cursor over to increase or decrease the decimal points. We want to decrease the decimal points to have just one in this instance. Now a little bit of quick formatting. We're going to center all of our information, except for this one. We want that one to be on the right, because it's talking about that cell in particular. Next, we can quickly add some borders, highlight everything, find the little border guy, all borders, and this one as well. We can do a little bit of more formatting. Command B to make those bold. Command B to make those bold. Perhaps also we could give it a little bit of shading. Pick a not too offensive color and give it a little shading to emphasize that data. That's all for now.